Hi, my name's Ben Saffer. I'm a cinematographer, and I recently had the chance with some friends to test out the new Blackmagic 12k URSA Cine camera with a bunch of really amazing lenses from Panavision and Cooke Optics. We spent a day at Panavision and then a day at Cooke with the camera. So this was our setup at Panavision, the first setup of the day. So we started off by testing out different lighting conditions. So we had all tungsten lighting with the camera set at 3200. Then we had all daylight lighting with the camera set at 5600, and then we did mixed lighting with the camera at 3200 and the key at 3200 and the fill and the backlight at 5600. And this was on the Crystal Express anamorphic lenses with the camera in the 9k 6:5 anamorphic mode, which is the kind of optimal anamorphic setup. And then we went to 12k, the full frame open gate setup, and this is with the Panavision VA lenses, which are really lovely full frame spherical lenses, and these are a really good match for the camera. I think lots of nice softness and nice and forgiving. And then we did some color tests. So this is only red light hitting the sensor basically to see how it reacts to that. Had some issues with certain cameras in the past where they sort of clamp down the saturation with very single color primary scenes, and then turning on tungsten light and seeing how if that changes anything, which it didn't, which is great. Then we did some very sort of extreme mixed lighting setups, and then a kind of nightclub type color setup to see how mixing lots of saturated colors looks. And this, what I would say is this is not with the stock LUT or transform. This is with the Filmbox 500T LUT, and I'm debayering straight to ARRI wide gamut 3 and log C3, and then using the Filmbox 500T LUT for the ARRI cameras, just because I'm used to that LUT. Basically, I've used it on a lot of films, so I know what it looks like on different cameras and used to sort of know what to look out for. So then we did an ISO test, so from 200 all the way up to 3200. The camera's very clean up to 800. I think at 1000 you start to get a little bit of noise showing up, and certainly once you get to 1600 and beyond, I probably wouldn't use the camera in those setups. But I tend to shoot most stuff at 200, so it's not a big deal really, or 800 with a ND6, so yeah. And then the final test we did on the day at Panavision was a high-speed test. So in 8K 2.4:1 mode, you can do 224 frames a second, but that's using the full width of the sensor, so you're not cropping in on your lenses. And there's a variety of different you have different max frame rates for different resolutions, but what you can do is use the full sensor because it does this downsampling thing for the 8K and 4K modes. So you're not having to change lenses when you're going high speed necessarily. There's a bunch of sensor modes and there's tons of options in the camera, so you've kind of got something for whatever your needs are. And high speed's very good. There's not a lot of extra noise. The motion looks good, so we were pretty happy with that. And yeah, that sort of concluded our day at Panavision. And then we had a day at Cooke Optics. So at Cooke, we tested first of all with their S8s, which are their newest full frame prime lenses. I think they're very, very nice. The mix of sharpness and then the fall off towards the edge is really lovely on this camera. And we had some of the guys from Blackmagic with us that day, and you know, as I said to them, the biggest compliment I can really pay the camera is that I don't think I could tell if you blind taste tested me this camera versus an Alexa versus a Venice in well lit conditions. I don't think I would be able to tell the difference with these sort of lenses on. Most of the tests I've seen on YouTube so far from the 12k have been with like what I would call like not top level lenses. So that's why I wanted to put all these lenses on the camera and see what it really looked like, and it totally holds up. Like, I think there's a possibility that an Alexa or a Venice might do better if you're losing the light or you're trying to do things with very little light, but I don't tend to like things that way. So this camera's great, works very well for me, and we tried a bunch of different Cooke lenses. The other thing with this camera is it's got an incredibly fast sensor readout. So I don't think we recorded any of the tests, but we did some incredibly fast, like panning backwards and forwards, rolling shutter tests, and it looks like a global shutter. It's incredibly fast readout, probably the best I've ever seen. So that's a big plus of the camera. And yeah, that's our test. What I would say is if you want to see more, I'm going to put a long version of this up with all of our test footage, which will be much, much longer than this. So check that out if you'd like to see more. Thanks very much.